Optimism, optimism, optimism to run forward for GiantX here today. Going up against BDS as we welcome you to the second day of the second week. I am Asterix. I'm joined by Jamada. It is Jamsterix. It is his Mata, depending on what angle you want to go for there. It is a nice way, regardless, to open you up for what should be a good game, because remember that, again, BDS haven't been as clinical as we saw, at least in winter, I would say, in comparison. For GiantX, big chance to play spoilers here as we open up your draft for you in 14-5.
Yep, 14-5, but do you know what will remain the same, Jake?
What, our Mata?
Smolder.
Ah, right.
Being banned a lot of the time if you're on red. I think teams have finally just kind of come to the conclusion that it's not worth giving up.
I would hope so. I mean, throughout the world, this pick has just been a pain to deal with, that late game insurance that hyperscales out of everyone's mind. So it is nice to see, alongside that Ashe, that as a support pick still priority is, for Jackie's going for the Orianna, might be a takeaway from Nuke. I think in the ad breaks we've been advertising to let people know how to play Orianna through that set mid laner, as now they're looking for their own priority with this Ahri that has risen in priority itself since we've come into this new patch. Zeri as well, I should add, into that mix.
Nuke, definitely, you know, Orianna, very classic him pick. Surprisingly, hasn't played it this split so far, which is kind of a shock, but I feel like BDS as a whole have kind of changed up their identity compared to Winter as well.
Yep.
We're seeing Ice a lot more on hyper carries like the Zeri, and the Aphelios is the only other two champions together that he has played. So BDS continue to evolve from Winter as GiantX, something like the Nautilus, even though it's been, for me, easy to punish, has become basically the go-to reliable engage support.
It really has as well. And again, remember, things like the center are still up and available, so we can see that partnership work. Is one of the most popular partnerships, I think, again, globally out of any of the bot lanes right now. But another one that is popular is Odo running back onto the Rumble, something that he has historically been good on, something in winter that we saw him pop off on, and going up against Adam, I think you need a flare up in that top side.
And I wonder if this is actually a callback to Vitality BDS, where Adam really struggled, of course, against Photon's Rumble, and if this is kind of just a all-around answer from Odo Amne, where he just goes, all right, I think all of Adam's champions suck into Rumble, so we can just blind it.
You'd be right.
And be pretty okay. I mean, he plays predominantly Juggernauts, right? That's kind of the whole thing with Adam.
Yep.
And whilst he can play some of the more meta champions, Rumble on paper does do well against just about most of what Adam tends to show. So it's good prep coming out from Giants, and this also is very reminiscent of their win against Mad, where they just had a bunch of engage tools, right? They've got Nautilus, they've got Rumble. If they find one more form of lockdown, Rumble feels really great, then they've got more engage to follow up with Nautilus. And I think proactivity tools like that are the kind of way that Giants can try and find an additional win on top of their 1-3 score.
And I think in that win as well, like I remember watching Igna on one of those tools as well, especially this support coming over from NRG. That's the person I want to see, and when he has Nautilus, that's the person I'm going to be looking at. On the other side, note that we are looking at a potential Labrov for the Rel here for show. That could pop into the jungle, but has been fewer and less between so far in this split as supports have started looking at it.
Yeah, just holding the flex realistically, right? This should be Rumble top. I don't think anyone's playing Rumble jungle ever. So for BDS, this is about going Adam's pick on 4 and then revealing the Rel flex on 5. So their game plan is pretty standard, and because there's no AD locked in by Giants, they can just go Varus probably center, feel pretty happy about it, and then Giants can remove away one more form of engage if they feel like it's necessary out of Adam's pool. But I like the Ornn call out just as a, you know, look, we might end up having 2 immobile carries here. We don't want to have to deal with the big ram coming through the rest of our team.
Also might pincer him into something, again, you talk about, you know, some of those top laners like the Olaf, things like the Aatrox or Renekton we've already seen out of Adam this split. So again, it might put him towards more of the direction GiantX want to see. Now, on the side, you mentioned it. Really good call out there, Jamada, with the Varus, with the center already taken away. Big priority ADs that were left on the board. That for Team BDS, now that they've got the Zeri, we can find out what they're going to do with that R4 as Jax is also taken away. Does that not just tell you we're going to get a Xin Zhao now, or what? Because Xin Zhao seems to be the top tier jungler left on the board. Jax feels like the biggest counter at the moment to him in multiple patches.
Definitely does. We'll see exactly where Giants decide to go with their jungler. Xin Zhao feels like the only strong available jungler still up. You could, of course, go Sejuani, I suppose, if you're Peach, but I feel like Xin kind of enables a little bit more of a skirmish style, and I feel like BDS agree. They don't want to have to deal with it. They take it up themselves. They put the Rel in the bottom side of the map, And I feel like generally this does kind of round out BDS as having a little bit more damage all around as well, and kind of in the terms of the early stages, not having to solely rely on the CC of the Rel, and then of course the follow-up from this Nico. Now, GiantX and Patrick hovering over the Zion, I mean, it's kind of a strong go-to for me. I feel like you're seeing a lot of these abilities which should be telegraphed enough that you should be able to Featherstorm them and then make BDS's life hell if they continue to try and approach through all of that damage.
I just want to see what gets partnered with it. The Lee Sin, I guess I was going to say, is going to be something like the Sedge. You know, Maokai and Vi were already taken away, so we get Peach on something a little bit more proactive, and when the desk were talking so much about him, this is going to be a sink or swim approach here from GiantX in the early game.
And I like this because it can go toe-to-toe with Xin Zhao, and I feel like Lee Sin in a game like this might have to. There's a lot of setup across the board, as is. You've got two mobile carries mid and bot, right? Very volatile bottom lane potentially as well, as can be. So Lee Sin has to be there and match the Xin at every single opportunity. Adam, as we get to R5, simply has to default to the Sion.
Yeah. It does start with S, so it does fit into the gods category, technically, if you don't want to put Zed in there. But for BDS, I mean, look at this. I mean, set up the ice here. We've seen this area really be proactive in the past couple of patches throughout the world. And as you already said, there's good setup between jungle and mid. I feel like there's, you know, we're setting ourselves up for some kind of front to back here for Team BDS as the game goes along, and try to utilize some of those big engage tools to give Ice freedom of space.
Yeah, that's how it feels for BDS, really. It's going to be a lot about, you know, front to backs. Can Nuke find an engage angle to really, you know, tear apart a fight? And on the opposite side, it's, again, very reminiscent of, I beg your pardon, BDS's only victory.
Reminiscent of begging your pardon?
I mean, Giant's only victory against Mad, where it was a lot of engage tools, and again, you know, Lee Sin, Orianna Shockwave, there's a lot of setup between the mid jungle as well as, of course, the Nautilus to try and additionally get Odoamne involved in these team fights.
Well, it's been a rough start on that point as well. The only win against Mad you pulled up, but Fnatic, SK, KC have already come through GiantX. They need some wins on the board. It's such a short split. And when it's already a 1-3 start, you cannot fall here. But BDS, are they going to be a hill too high to climb? On the other side of the rift, Team BDS yesterday, I mean, I was coming into this one, Jamada, and I'm like, look, I might say some words about BDS, because yes, they opened up with G2, but then it started with Vitality. Then against Rogue, you're like, okay, well, look, BDS should find an expected win. It was against SK yesterday, especially, that there were some issues. Yes. There were some massive issues yesterday, almost getting taken out by SK. Luckily, we're able to pull up a win with a bit of a late game turnaround, but still, again, it wasn't that clean. I think that's what we're taking away from BDS so far, is that this team has not been cleanly. It's not like, yeah, they find one team fight and turn it around. It's not that great validity that we saw in winter at the very least, and last year, where this team was so well known for their 5v5s and so well for their comebacks. I'm not getting that same vibe again.
Yeah, no, they have been very inconsistent. And again, I kind of point towards the identity shift that they've moved from winter to even the back end of winter, actually, if you really peek into it, where Ice predominantly, and it was somewhat the meta as well. I think that's a very important point to point out. Where Ice was on these utility picks, Sheo was more strictly on skirmishers like Vi and Xin Zhao. Since then, however, we've moved towards Sheo being more on engage tools and then Ice being on hyper carries. Now, Ice is still on the Zarya. It's kind of been this rise in priority recently, kind of flavor of the month. Sheo now, not an engaged champion, but a skirmishing champion with a lot of setup around him, should have a lot more freedom to attack lanes with a lot more ease, and BDS should feel a lot more comfortable to take skirmishes in the early game.
Yeah, let's see how they work out, because again, I feel like for this game as well, if you are on an even state or even not too far behind, for BDS still having that presence with things like the Nico, the Sion as well, adding a bit of flair for the engage in some of these fights and giving Ice that room to breathe, as we're talking about in draft. Junglers for now, we'll just start you off because it is a blue side start for both teams. If you go vertically, horizontally, diagonally, let's try that. Direction's not my strong suit today, but Peach and Sheo, my point being, both on the same side of the map, both shifting their weight all the way to the bottom of the map towards Ice and Patrick, where we know bot these days is still so important, but maybe it's not the most important lane to talk about because Odoamne picked this Rumble up. Adam was forced into the R5 Sion Jamada, and it's already starting how we kind of expected it to.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, Rumble gains priority into almost every melee in the game, right? So Sion isn't really going to be an exception. It's going to take a while for him to get online, you know, sit on the Bammies, get some MR, and then just start to wave clear. But before then, Odoamne is going to be in a world of freedom to do whatever he wants with that wave. And to return back to your jungle point, I feel like that also means we're not going to see junglers up there very often unless Odoamne takes a very favorable trade to the point where it's worth getting him ahead. I expect both Peach and Sheo will be doing their best to shore up their bottom lanes respectively, try and pressure leads when and where they can.
I will say, you know what is crazy about topside? Odoamne went TP instead of Ignite. I mean, in most cases, like the Ignite Rumble in lane, because it is, again, all about the lane, feels like a more passive approach, more to match what BDS can do around this map with, again, a lot of driving forces.
Yep, true. I mean, also you have to remember, I feel like in a lane like this, you can make a lead for yourself so heavily, even if it's not just through, you know, 1v1 kills and what have you, that
right.
having teleport is probably just going to allow you to have more freedom in the mid game, which is where I feel like, to me, if you remember, BDS are, you know, one of the sort of trailblazer teams that, of course, with Adam playing all of these juggernauts that require Ghost Flash to function a lot of the time, they're the ones that will, you know, really muck around with side lanes not having teleport. So
right.
I feel like for Odo, having teleport, or not, rather, not having Ignite, kind of just says to me that Giants more willing to opt into team fights, basically, when and where they will in the mid stages of this game.
Okay, so I get that point. We'll see what happens. Flash for Flash, by the way. Nuke pulls the trigger, Tangle Barbs come out, and Jackie's pays respect. Now, Peach is hovering around mid to see if anything else can brew. But there is a health disadvantage here for Jackie, so you can see playing back towards the turret, also seeing Sheo with the Scry's bloom up towards his top side, means that he's not going to overpush.
Yeah, definitely not. Jackie's looking for a reset pretty soon, one would have to imagine. Grubs are up in 35 seconds as well, so you want to be healthy once those objectives come up. And I do anticipate, with all of the priority that Odoamne should be winning consistently up in the top side, that GiantX will look to prioritize that. And the question really then becomes, do BDS feel like they have a window to actually disrupt the Grub takedown, or will they instead opt for a bit of a cross-map play, go towards the Dragon, if a bot lane dive is even in the cards as well, as speaking of.
Dredge line is good, but Labrov out with a Shattering Strike, Ice over the wall as well. Hard to lock down this duo as GiantX to try and fight back off the back of their turret. On the note of grubbies, let's be real. I think a lot of people realize that that trade sometimes can really bite them in the backside. With all the focus on bot, it's been just over and over again, seeing Dragon Stacks come through, seeing that being the cause for the game ending as well. Because yes, camera is always going to look topside. So for GiantX, while I go through that explanation, grubs for top, but normally it's a trade. Normally it's always like on spawn, Dragon being taken as well. But Peach just gets two in order to maybe move to the bottom side a little bit quicker here and see if he can catch Sheo off guard trying to contest that Dragon.
Yeah, this is exactly what that's thought for. He knows that his bot lane has the first rotation out because they had the first reset. They got that wave crashed in. So he can now, if he really wants to, cross over. I think he's going to do Raptors just to get level 5 and then look towards mid, make sure mid's got security, and then pick up this Dragon. I like the move. You don't necessarily have to commit to all 3 grubs just because you can, and they know that BDS were likely going to try and cross-map this, and we're a little bit late. Now they're the ones with priority in the river.
Charge in, Audacious. And it's going to get the knockup. Peach flashes away. Ignite doesn't get the Dredge line in. And for Nuke now just turns to the roof. Pop Blossom, only a one-man, but that's all you need. First blood over where it belongs. Over to Ice Seri.
Yeah, small gap in information there. Wasn't quite ready for Labrov to leap on top of his face. Jackie's and pays for it with his life. And now the Dragon's being started up by BDS. But this is a bit problematic. The fact that Ignar and Patrick can move up into the river might make this takedown a bit null, so they might just have to take the kill for now. GiantX with all this priority down here, a lot to work with as a counterpunch to ensure that objective can't go down. Labrov.
He's going to walk into this, but can they find the kill? They need to root up, crash down again. Hard to find anything in the 2v2 without getting those cooldowns off as Patrick just walks back to lane. You know, for BDS, what a great start. First kill, first blood over to the Zeri. For Ice, you know, we talked about his development in winter. This guy really became a driving force of BDS. He really became a reliable source for BDS. And I feel like for Ice, you know, coming into the LEC, we had some questions. You know, there's a big voice in Crownie being lost from this team. I feel like for now, for BDS, even though we've been critical of them, at least the skill level is there. Now, have I jinxed it? No, I've not. Great timing. For the first time, a caster has not just put his foot in his mouth.
Cast curse doesn't work out.
Yeah, first time rarely, I should say. Not the first time ever. There's definitely great moments from all of us. Just myself, you know, few and far between, to be quite honest.
To be
it's
honest.
not talking myself down, it's just being realistic.
Yeah, but I'm kind of curious, though, returning back to that Dragon point, whether or not BDS are going to try and force the issue down there. Just because, you know, now that Ice does have that kill, you wonder if a reset can come in soon and maybe they'll have some kind of window to work with. But as now stands, Ignar and Patrick just have so much priority. It feels like Ice and Labrov are going to be kind of trapped underneath their tower. Or at the very least, Ice will always be second to the move. Labrov can always kind of drop waves, right? That's how this pool roll works. Now, I did mention earlier, top would probably be isolated unless a dive opportunity arises. Adam is completely out of mana, no biscuits, and Odo is finding another nice trade. I think Adam is probably dead.
Yeah, there's a big wave crashing in as well.
Yep.
I mean, the setup for the dive seems so easy in that equalizer. The overheat as well. Either way, he's just dead. Nicely done, Odo. Just presses E. Adam going to try and thin out the wave, but a kill over to this top rumble, and he's a-rolling.
Yep, kill. The undead passive will prevent Odo from getting a plate. Silver linings. But still, the dive is good, and this is kind of what we mentioned, right? The lane will be isolated unless Adam takes a bad trade. Adam overstays his welcome in the top side of the map. They will be cross-mapped, however, with this dragon. But I feel like overall, GiantX are probably happy with that trade. Almost a 1,000 individual gold lead between Odo, Omne, and Adam. So this rumble is going to be really, really accelerated. And look at his items as well. He hadn't based. He'd been on the map for almost 8.5 minutes.
Holy.
So he is going to have a whole bunch of cash in his wallet to spend. And that lane is going to go from bad to worse for Adam. It's probably going to feel...
Oh my god, he just bought a Leandre's outright.
Okay.
That's like, guy gets his payday and he's like, I'm going to the Gucci store. He just pulls this one out of the hat, and for Odo, now it gets a little bit more serious. Versus Spectre's Cal, I don't think you're really going to have that much MR to deal with this rumble. Who's going to have an experience lead? Going to have an item lead? Like, that is some serious stuff in the top side. And for GiantX, big win condition now brewing up here in this opening game.
Yeah, if you want to play through top, you can.
Oh, picked out. Observers are just saying peekaboo. Ignar is dead. Another kill for Ice. In the bottom side, meanwhile, that is also a win condition for BDS.
It's brewing into one, isn't it? Ice gets another relatively free kill in the grand scheme of things. Ignar, just a greedy base. Nothing more to say about it, and BDS have vision. I'm not sure how, in the grand scope of things, it's going to change how the priority has been lying out for our two bottom lanes respectively. I feel like Patrick and Ignar will still be able to force it, but for now, Labrov and Ice can enjoy a brief window of freedom. Labrov will get some vision down, maybe even pay a little visit to the mid lane, though Nuke is on reset and Cheo's on the top side of the map, so could be a little while until BDS are able to find another point of attack on the map.
So we chill for now. That Dragon long timer away. Grub's up in the top side for Peach. Feels like an opportunity to take, yeah.
Because no one ever went and finished off that first Grub respawn, so maybe preordained plan from GiantX, but that Grub is not 3, it's 1. It's lying to you.
It's not 3, it's 1. It's like telling someone with no context to be like, what is going on? Someone who's seen League of Legends 5 years ago have absolutely no clue.
I'm sure that there's got to be some kind of... There was, on Reddit, there was a League time capsule from like 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they had a bunch of different things that they had like laid out, all of like the most recent skins. You can probably go on Reddit and find it. I'm not I'm not crazy.
But 10 years ago with like Wriggle's Lantern era, or what were we talking?
Season 4.
Season 4.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like Wriggle's Lantern era?
Yeah.
Oh man, feels ages ago.
The Soul Stone. Can't remember what it's called, the jungle item stone. Anyway, there's a fight.
Yeah, no, there is a fight. Depth Charge goes in. It's onto Labrov, though, using all the engage tools on the support. A needed the kick. Is there from Peach, but sends it into Ignar again. A lot's used, but a lot's gained. BDS with another kill, and they just keep going bot, and it just keeps working.
Yeah, Ignar is the victim of a grander play. Now, I will say the immediate cross-map effect will be that Odo is going to get at least 2 plates off of this push, so his lead is going to continue to extend, and that's going to feel great for Giants. Again, BDS kind of get a pick, and that's it for now. So, you know, it's good that Ice keeps on picking up all these resources, and now Nuke's also on the board. They're going to have to try and show off all of this gold that they are picking up from these skirmishes and exchanges at this next Dragon fight. They got the first one. If they can stack up the second one, it does start to put a little bit of eerie pressure onto GiantX to try and make sure that they're on their correct timings to be in the river first, or at the very least set up vision in situations so that they can get the kind of engages that they want to force.
Because if not, I mean, Nuke, Sheo, Angle has to be picked, and I mean, especially for someone like Nuke, because Patrick walks up, gets a plate. So at least for GiantX, while we're talking about these engages and or maybe the setup that's going to come through from the next Dragon and how BDS can find success, in the individual lanes, we are seeing that being halted. We're seeing the gold lead from stopping to be run away. Let's try English again. GiantX are just taking all the place in these lanes. Through mid, through bot. Yes, 1 only for Jackies, but I think in the bot side, 2 were just picked up by Patrick overall through these first 12 minutes. So it's still a decent news story. It's still a gold lead here in the early game, despite the kills going over. And for GiantX, more importantly, they've got this rumble that now BDS have to start checking, because coming into the next Dragon, remember, we highlighted in the early game, Odo has taken TP on this rumble. And I'm pretty sure in a minute, it's going to be back up and available.
Yeah, Adam's going to have to drop a wave or try and ult down there or do something to be first. Odoamne should have teleport by the time that dragon comes up, so it will definitely be a big window for GiantX to try and abuse a 4v5, stop that dragon stack, and then kind of try to maintain, you know, sort of macro superiority and slowly take over the map. Whereas for BDS, again, they've got the correct kind of tools where if they can set up, you know, triangles of Fog of War, things like the Rel and the Nico become very threatening when it comes to face checks for GiantX as they try to approach that. But the thing that is in front of us right now will be this dragon in 20 seconds, and BDS, they're the ones with a little bit of deeper vision in comparison to GiantX, and we'll see exactly how they get things to work out for them as now that teleport timer is up for Odo. We'll see exactly how the two top laners try and manage their tempo and ability to make it down to this dragon fight.
A little bit of suspect from Odoamne, level 11 by the way, so going to have the second level of Equalizer. You're mentioning some of the tools from BDS, Labrov, big one for me. I mean, already seen from the crash downs, already seen from the 100% kill participation, he's a part of it. Both world supports now head to head. We've seen them before, but Ignite, he's come back from Europe, he's realized this is the better region. This dragon starts off.
Yeah, starts off, teleport behind for Odo. BDS, they're trying to look for an angle. You can see Adam's here.
I mean, he's
Giants.
charging in. It's a 4-man. It's a crash down. It's a pop up. It's a pop down. Blink and you'll miss it because the fight is over and it feels like the game goes with it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we spent the last couple of minutes kind of building up that, hey, you know, BDS, they have all these tools. Giants just disrespect Adam as he ults down from the top side of the map, and Labrov knows how to pick his target. That was a complete mince for Giants.
Is the game now just over? Is the game from that one play just over? Because from one simple engage, from the setup, from the pylon, from BDS's comp, playing it perfectly, it's a 3k gold lead. Mid turret goes with that second dragon, by the way. Bot goes with it. They're going to TP onto Nuke. That's Jackie's. But can he actually find the kill? Well, with the teleport and response from BDS, Jackie's now with nowhere to go. No summoners, Tangle Barbs as well. Shockwave buys him time, but he will die. And just like that, it just feels so distraught for GiantX.
I need to see the post-game breakdown to see the gold graph. I think they just got a 4,000 gold lead off the back of that dragon. Dragon 2 towers kill. That's rough. GiantX at the very least, as they come back out from their doom, they're going to pick up the Herald, as BDS, of course, did invest in making sure there was no issues for Nuke taking that tower. But let's just take a look at it, because GiantX, they're so invested in trying to find the fight after the dragon goes down that they just don't notice that Adam is there. There's not actually a ward for GiantX, so perhaps they simply, from their point of view, didn't know where he was ulting from. So Labrov, easy as you like, finds the follow-up, and the chase down for the rest is just so easy. That is one of the roughest team fights to watch if you're a Giants fan.
GiantX ahead of their hands.
BDS, they're laughing. The coaches off because they know how big a moment that is for their team. Thank you, production.
Do you know when, I don't know if you've been to like any of the Disneylands recently, like there's a lot more roller coasters that you're in the dark. Like go on a Space Mountain, for example.
Yeah.
There's some twists and turns, but you can't see a damn thing. And then suddenly, boom. That's the roller coaster. That's the point of the drop where everyone's screaming. Except for BDS, they're having a great time. Yeah. They don't care about the surprises. For GiantX, they're the ones who want off that ride. And as we saw now, the gold is out of control. It's almost a 4K gold lead. And yes, it's not insurmountable. But for BDS, the core carries that need to be fed are fed. And I'm talking about Ice Hit with a Phantom Dancer and a 2-item over a 1-item Zaya on the other side. And Patrick, suddenly that Rumble doesn't feel as threatening as it did a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah. Definitely not. And I mean, you have to recall there's a couple of, you know, silver linings to it. His items are very cheap comparatively to Patrick, so the spike is a lot earlier, but even then, the lead is still present, right? And now for BDS, even though they are losing this tower, and this is going to be one of my later points, but I'll bring it up now, objective bounties are up. GiantX did pick up the Herald, right? There is that tower on the top side as well, which is particularly low, so GiantX do have options in finding gold on the map, but it's about trying to avoid BDS in the skirmishes as they attempt to do that. And as for BDS, really the goal right now is to continue to try and suffocate GiantX out of the map so they can try and, again, set up these Fog of War triangles that GiantX have no idea where anyone is and find another engage like that second dragon.
Running into a Scion, I mean, that Fog of War is so important. It's so easy to abuse as well. Nico can go on that list. Anyone who really has reliable CC, which for BDS, they've built a comp around. Kick away. Peach just needs to defuse the situation, but inner turret in the bottom side goes down even without a Baron buff. As teleport to defend this top from Odoamne then follows suit. Patrick unable to get the objective bounty mid, but you can see before GiantX were running away from that objective bounty in the outer bottom side. That pulled some gold back into this game. So I have to see if they can get any more of those. As for now, BDS still just keep clawing ahead and gearing up for this next dragon in 1 minute's time.
Yeah, exactly. GiantX have done a pretty decent job here at trying to claw gold back. We're now kind of more closely sitting at around a 2,500 gold lead. So Giants, really what we need to track moving towards this dragon is whether or not anyone's going to base right now and find a full completed item. If they don't, they're going to walk into this dragon completely behind. And to me, one singular Cloud Dragon and hell, even a Cloud Soul, it's not the worst in the world to give up. I always hate having to bring up this argument when it's Cloud, you know, because I'm a Cloud shiller. I do like the Cloud Dragon, but
I love Cloud.
I do love Cloud Dragon, but Adam could be.
They,
well,
they need Odo. They need the damage from this Rumble. He's on the hot fire. Adam's surviving for now, but as Odo just starts auto-attacking him, and there you go. That's how they finish the job. Adam buying time, but as Odo picks up the kill, Adam has shifted gears up this top side, meaning that it is going to be the turret. Try and get the push here. BDS going to get mid. They're also going to get this dragon, but it just depends how far GiantX can go with this.
I mean, to be fair, no one's up here right now defending this push. We're seeing a reset now coming out from Nuke and the Brov. They could reasonably... Oh, they can't kill the tower in time. They could have maybe hopped in the Herald, made the charge happen again onto that inhibitor tower in the top lane.
Better than watching this dragon, though.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be honest, I'm just happy that GiantX aren't window shopping at the dragon, plain and simple. They're clawing gold back pretty efficiently. And like we just said, they're not really... They weren't in a position to be equal in items. Why even risk the flip? Go make that cross map happen, and Adam is the unfortunate victim of it.
And I think that inner turret, I mean, you already get bonus gold for the inner turret.
It's also just worth more gold than the mid tower that they traded as well.
That's right, but objective bounty on top, I think I saw 453 per person gained from that turret. That was just the localized gold as well.
Yep.
So, for whatever that breakdown is, all of a sudden, as Rogue Vitality next, there you go.
Looking
we'll
forward
get
to
that. Yeah, I bet you are. That'll be back. But it's less than 2k gold lead. So it felt like an absolute disaster, but it's not, right? My imitation poor there, even though as an Australian, didn't need the accent, it's very poor. But we are on salt point for BDS, so there has to be a fight around this next dragon. And I know you talked about Cloud Soul, talking it down, but with a Zeri, I don't like that, as GiantX don't either. Sheo flashes away. That's a good summoner to get, but what else comes with it?
Yeah, exactly. It's about GiantX trying to find the small wins when BDS do actually offer up the opportunity to take it. BDS trying to find this top tier 1, but just maybe a second inside of the Flame Spear in overheat makes Nuke think twice. BDS, they're trying to set up as much vision as they can, another dredge line, but it's not really going to result in a fight. You can tell GiantX are really poking and prodding.
Pop Blossom flashed away from. They continue to do so, and they're getting summoners like that. Now, in the long term, it is a summoner trade. Sheo burned his flash a little bit earlier, but Odo on the Rumble. Remember, he ain't running phase rush or anything. That guy is going to be exposed if he gets caught out with the numerous CC that BDS are running.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anyone will, right? On GiantX's side, I think we've even seen Ignar just get 100-0'd inside of it. He's got aftershock, so you can imagine how some of these squishier members will feel. BDS still have all the pressure to work with, and I like what they're doing overall to try and keep GiantX at arm's length now that they have kind of, in their own, answered a couple of towers. And that dragon, you know, it sits 3 minutes away, and like you said, for GiantX, it's not, you know, a massive combat soul to give over, but you are still right, you know, trying to lock down members like Ice on the Zeri, trying to avoid things like the ultimate from Labrov and Nuke just become that bit more difficult. And that's always the thing about movement speed. It's very hard to quantify it, unless you see a Hecarim running at you at like 800 movement speed.
Yep.
So we'll see how BDS do make use of it if they do end up picking up the soul, whether or not GiantX can try to make some kind of trade. Maybe they go Baron for soul and just kind of take up the immediate gold injection, plus, of course, the pressure of having Baron to try and put BDS in a disadvantageous position. The Brob is going to spoil Patrick on this red buff.
Not too much he can do by himself, but he's with the threat that there could be more where that came from, as Sheo is now going to make it a reality. Ice also making the movement as well. But towards that dragon, regardless, whoever picks up soul, or the dragon itself, I should say, if it is GiantX's, in 2 minutes' time, we're going to find out if there's a 3-item Zeri. You know, Ice is someone we're going to have to watch in the next fight. It feels like it could be on the horizon. We've also got a Magi's for Nuke, who has a Rabadon's death cap, so there's a lot of big power items that have come through from BDS, or will be coming through as we count down that clock. 1 minute 30, top right.
Yeah, what I would really love to see BDS do, and they're doing the first step of it, is get rid of this vision, and again, not to sound like a broken record, see if they can find someone rotating in a position they shouldn't be, blow a summoner spell, or find Odo. He's the only one right now without flash. But GiantX, they're paying their due diligence. They're making sure they're not overextending, you know, in isolation at the very least.
Okay, so Jackie's might be caught out. Hang on, he's got the flash over the wall. Pop Blossom! You know what? There's the pick. You want to see GiantX find one? They've got it. They've got the mid laner. And now they've got direction to go Baron.
You know earlier how you made Ice dodge out on that caster curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just cursed the Jackies.
Nice.
This should at the very least be an attempt at Baron. Odo Armne does have ultimate, and there are still a couple of threatening ults, but realistically, Shockwave is the big one you'd be looking out for if you're BDS. So now this going down, GiantX have to make a decision. What can they actually do to try and dissuade this Baron from being taken?
Nuke's taking a lot of damage in the build-up to it, though. And again, that Baron, how fast is it going down is the biggest question. Like, as the engage comes through, it's a 5 versus 4 regardless, but the equalizer doing a bit of work. Nuke has to get out on the backside. Baron is stopped for the meantime as the kick disengages. Depth charge also re-engages, but there's no follow-up from GiantX. BDS move away. Now searching for Peach in the fog of war that he moves into. Wind becomes lightning, does so, but a blast cone builds space, smite for smite, and trying to get the movement speed advantage. It's no bueno. BDS can't get him, and Lee Sin's just having the time of his life. And for a blind guy, he sure knows his way around the rift. That was a bit greedy to burn the flash. An unfortunate end for Peach, but at least he's got his life.
Yeah, okay, but what tools got blown here, right? If you look at the scoreboard, it's 3 more flashes on the side of GiantX. So now once BDS's ultimates come back up, it's a huge threat. Are GiantX going to try and flip this on tempo? Are they going to try and assume BDS have gone reset or looking for the dragon? They are, but they should know that people are around. They can see Adam. They should see more people coming through. Nuke is...
Raptors, very suspicious. Pop Blossom time, yes it is. It's only 2 as he gets nuked down though.
Hold on.
And now with Jackie's getting launched on as well, you can see Lebrov has gotten that backside engage, but watch Ice. Watch Ice! Watch Ice! Triple already gained, and Odo is just the creme de la creme, the quadra on top, and it's Ice Ice baby.
It all comes together again for BDS. It's the fight that they were looking for. At GiantX, they tried to pick on a window they believe is theirs, and frankly, BDS just punished them for it. Nuke finds a massive ultimate, and the Brob's follow-up to that was even better. And now BDS will walk away with this Baron, and they'll be able to probably open up the base here of GiantX.
There's a valiant attempt to just throw everything against the wall and see what sticks in front of the Baron, but as you said, so many summoners down, so many tools that were falling down, and Adam again sets up the engage.
Yeah, the lead up to the play really is what makes BDS so confident in going forward, and even though Nuke gets nuked, Lebrov, again, this 4-man back in its storm on the back end just allows everyone else to move forward. Odo's trying his best to lock down Ice, at least get the kill credit back over, but he can't. Too much pill, too much frontline, and even though this Scion was a pick that Giants, you know, on paper forced Adam onto, he's become a menace. He's relatively unkillable now as one of these big, beefy frontliners for Ice to work around us. Nuke just dives with the rest of them.
We talked about Odo's laning phase, and we thought, oh yeah, it might be a problem. Like, what's the Scion going to do in response? But it was both engaged now as Odo flashes again off a cooldown, it feels like. Adam's just TP'd in. He does not care about a turret. He doesn't care about really anyone, even Odo at this point. Decimating Smash is going to be avoided, but BDS now with Baron. The rampage continues. Top side, mid, bot looks like it needs a little bit of attention, but who cares? Because BDS feel like they're going to crack the base with this upcoming push.
Yeah, they definitely should be able to. Need the waves to sync up though. Mid lane waves on its way. Shockwave.
They're the tanks though.
Yeah.
Double engage. Here's Nuke, and that was a mistake. A valiant attempt, but a mistake all the same, as the Shockwave does nothing, and now it might just be the end if they can run this through with long dead timers.
Can't blame GiantX for trying, but at the end of the day, it just feels like the front line of BDS is way too tanky for them to deal with. And even though Patrick was in a position where he was feeling kind of powerful, falling further and further behind has made this BDS frontline unkillable, and now they're on the Nexus turrets.
Peach with a kick back to just try and delay the inevitable, but it feels like BDS have everything in their back pocket as one Nexus turret goes down, the next wave channeling in. Adam, he's gone down to half HP. There is still good damage now coming out of Patrick as well with his armor shred. BDS aren't going to get in the game here, but still 7K gold lead, a big Baron power play of about 3,000. It still feels like we're just going to wait to see if GiantX can do what is the unthinkable.
Okay, we all know how BDS closes this game out.
But how's BDS been this split?
Exactly, my dear friend. Now, there is one spanner that can be thrown in the works if BDS do not end in 4.5 minutes and they don't have the pressure on the map. The Elder Dragon will spawn up.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can see the timer at the top, right?
The game flipper.
The game flipper, exactly. Now, at this point, this is probably what GiantX are hoping for.
Oops.
BDS, however, will do their best to take whatever they can whilst this Baron remains up. They'll get this tier 2 on the top side as Nuke runs around the lane as a little baby raptor. They'll see if they can crack open the base on the top side as well before the Baron just about wears off.
Just likes the fall.
Yeah. A lot of movement speed, to be fair.
Yeah, that's very true.
Don't forget, you get some of those stats off the things that you take away. I actually do wonder what the chicken... I wonder if it's like the fastest jungle camp out of all the camps you can steal.
You'd think it'd be a wolf,
it probably
wouldn't
is.
you?
No, I think that little chicken probably is,
You'd think, like, biologically, the wolf would be the fastest camp.
Yeah.
But raptors are real quick, especially when resetting.
Yeah.
So, again, doesn't make too much sense. But, like, yeah, I think raptor camps, you're right, they are the fastest.
They might be the fastest.
Wolves. It should be wolves.
You know, I'm with you. I'm with you on the Wolfgang.
Like,
cool. Like the wolves should be...
Love Wolfgang.
They should be the fastest.
True.
But no, it's got to be the chicken.
It's got to be. Nuke knows what he's doing.
Oh, don't forget, he's also got like the Cloud Dragons and the Cloud Souls, so he's artificially a little bit faster than we'd probably be used to seeing him. But it's so funny.
Just seeing this, like watching the second chicken run. BDS are just going to traverse through, knowing that their friend and colleague is walking through the side lanes now out of form. And I think for a while there was a white square on the minimap when Nico was a chicken. So it's going to change around.
Nico is a minion.
Okay, very good. What do we got on the minimap? Actually, a minion logo.
Yeah, it is actually a minion logo.
It did it.
Nico is a minion.
Very good.
The question is, do they know? Well, they certainly know now.
They certainly know. What is that? Minion's up to no good. The Minion's finally gained sentience. Finally leveled up its brain power. Like how, you know, we've turned from apes to humans. Minions one day will turn into champions. We just don't know when or how it's going to happen. Maybe a couple of million years. Yeah,
BDS are really struggling, though, to find an opportunity and an opening. So credit for GiantX for, you know, keeping the windows closed.
Great wave clear.
Yeah, there is a lot of very strong wave clear available. And even though BDS's engage is good, it does rely a lot on, you know, overextensions and things of the like, which is what GiantX have been doing in your base. You're basically backs against the wall, right? So it's very hard to find those windows. So this has been effectively a full mid-inhib defense where GiantX, oh no. Okay, no one's around, to be fair. But you always see the Scion Q, you focus on it, you don't know who's around. Peach.
Kick back. Okay. This is onto Adam. They've got Odo nearby. He does flash to the credit of GiantX. That is one summoner down from BDS. And remember, we've got Elder. As Jamada said, this is what GiantX are putting in their back pocket to hopefully win out, to hopefully bring them back into this game and at least get something.
Yeah, the thing that sucks as Patrick,
okay.
Yeah, should be fine, is that Baron spawns in 30 and Elder spawns 45 seconds or so after the fact. So BDS, if they're quick to the draw, they can already have the Baron in their back pockets, or GiantX maybe contest it and they lose the game of the Baron instead. We lose to know until it happens. Ignar, oh no.
Run forward, and now you're going to be knocked up, and look, Ice just behind. I mean, Ignar at half HP already, but Lebrov, meanwhile, is by himself. Odo doing the damage, but the Pop Blossom again. It's as easy as that, isn't it? Patrick will cleanse out to survive as his route back is good, but still Ice survives. He'll run forward, he'll auto this to death. And the Zeri with 10 kills looks for Peach to finish off the job. This Lee Sin has no choice but to go back in. But Ice, even though being kicked away, Peach has to watch from afar as he dies, gets flashed on, gives the 11th kill over. And for BDS, we said these guys this split, it has been a little bit of a muchness, but now finally we see a great game, great coordination here in the second week of spring. We see the BDS that we've been promised time and time again. Such a good defining game for them, Jamada, as they just want more kills to open this one up. They've got an inhibitor to open this one up.
Hold on a second.
Is it going to keep going?
No, it should end. But
Jackie's is up. No,
it's done.
Hit the Nexus. Hit the Nexus. BDS.
Don't threat. It's fine. It's
think
good.
They're all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ice is dead, and eventually the Nexus is dead. It is done. BDS, it is a significant win. one desperately needed.
Yep, almost, maybe. In some universes, maybe someone doesn't auto-attack the Nexus, but good looks from BDS overall. I feel like they were able to punish some of GiantX's plays, and specifically in the early game, it was Ignar a couple of times they were able to pick off. And even though I will give credit where it's due, GiantX's draft prep coming into this, relatively solid in my opinion. I just feel like the fact of the matter is not only were BDS sharper on the plays and a lot quicker to find those engages, as soon as that first one came through, it just felt like there was no opportunity for Giants to actually find an opportunity to fight.
It was an issue, wasn't it? But you can vote for your key player of the game. Have your say at LEC on X. Is it Shayo, Nuke, or Lebrov? Who won it for you here? As we go to a short break, but when we return, Rogue and Vitality take to the Rift.
Red Bull gives you wings.